Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Judy and I've been doing permanent makeup for almost 4 years now. Based on my experience, here are 5 types of clients I'd avoid as a beginner PMU artist. Number 1, friends and family. I know you're super excited, you learned your new craft, you think you're really good. But do not use your friends and family as like your guinea pigs, because you will see them all the time. And trust me, your first few pairs of brows or lips or eyeliner, it's not gonna be your best work, but you're gonna see these people all the time for the rest of your life. And they're gonna keep being your reminder that, ooh, you're not that good. And as a beginner artist, you don't want, somebody to kick you in your confidence all the time. Your first year, you want to build up your confidence as an expert in this field. So try to avoid anything that will kind of like kick you in the gut a little bit. Number 2, avoid this type of skin. Somebody who's super oily. They have pretty visible pores that you can see in this area that you're working on. And it's very bumpy and uneven. Because from what I've noticed is this type of skin, it's the hardest to heal. And when they heal, they lose a lot of ink. Most likely when they're really oily, they tend to scab up more. And when they scab up more, they just don't retain as much ink. So when they come back, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like what happened? What did I do wrong? So just avoid that at first. Once you get better at it, then sure, you can take those clients, no problem. But of course, you should know that by now. If your client is super oily with big pores, you do not do microblading on them. You only do powder brow, machine work. Number 3, to avoid the really light skin tone and the really dark skin tone. Basically, what you learn in your courses as Fitzpatrick 1 and Fitzpatrick 6. People with Fitzpatrick 1 skin tone, they tend to be really sensitive. And when they're really sensitive, they might bleed a little bit too much, or their skin swells up, especially if you do lips or something like that. So then it's very hard to work on. And number 6, choosing the color it's kind of hard. Also, they tend to either hyperpigment or hypopigment. So you have to be very careful with your work. Until you're really good at what you do, try to avoid those Fitzpatrick scales. Number 4, somebody that already has an existing tattoo. Unless it is super, super faded where you can barely see it, do not take on those clients. Because if you're doing microblading, when they have an existing tattoo underneath, sometimes your strokes are not going to show up. And your client will be very disappointed in the work. Also, a lot of times when they already have an existing tattoo, the color of it usually has turned into either like a very warm tone or it is super cool tone like a blue or a green. You have to be really good at color theory in order to turn that brow into more of like a brown tone again. So just make sure that you really know your color theory before you take on a client with an existing tattoo. Number 5, clients with no brow hair. I've taken on some alopecia clients and they absolutely have no hair at all. And I would not take those clients on as my first year, doing permanent makeup, because when she came back, you literally see every detail. Because there is no hair, there's no hair to cover any sort of mistake. You have no room for mistake. So if either your microblading pen went a little bit too deep or your cosmetic tattoo machine went a little bit too deep at certain areas, it's going to show. And it's not gonna be pretty and nothing will hide it. So until you are very, very secure with your work and your skills, don't do a client with absolutely no hair. Okay, there you have it. 5 types of client that I would truly avoid as an amateur permanent makeup artist. Those are the things I've learned throughout my career and I want to share with you so you can avoid these mistakes. And of course, same thing, please subscribe to my channel. You can check out my Instagram page. I share a lot of my work on there, as well as what color I've used, so you can use that as a reference, what machine I use and what techniques. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye. When you are starting permanent okay. Permanent makeup okay, let's restart. 5 things okay.